Hi, my name is Simona Rata. I'm an audio producer. I am freelance, but most of my work is for the BBC. And today I'm going to give you a tip on interviewing for narrative podcasts. I would call myself an audio producer, meaning I make both radio programs and podcasts. I am freelance, but I mostly work in-house for the BBC, so it kind of looks like I'm at the BBC all the time. I've made programs across current affairs, arts and culture, entertainment, science, true crime, history, pretty much everything. The biggest thing I've ever worked on is a podcast called Bad People for BBC Sounds. I produced lots and lots of episodes of that, and it's been really, really fun. But I would say one of the highlights of my career has been a BBC World Service documentary I made called Breaking Through. And that was all about breakdancing or breaking, which is the correct term, going to the Olympics. And that was a real passion project. I got to work with close friends, and it ended up doing really well. It was a pick of the week on Radio 4, and it was selected as one of the 2 best documentaries of the week, also on BBC's Seriously podcast. I got to interview some really, really cool people, and fans of hip hop would know this, but the documentary actually starts with someone who was there at DJ Kool Herc's block parties. So that was actually the start of hip hop. So for me, that was a great experience. I love that. One of the best things about being a producer is that you get to make documentaries about the things that you're interested in and speak to the people that you've always wanted to speak to. So that's pretty great. I actually went to university for radio. I have a master's in radio from Goldsmiths University, and I also specialized in radio during my undergraduate program, which was media communications, also at Goldsmiths. I always kind of knew I wanted to work in the media industry somehow, like since I was 11 or 12, but at the time, I didn't know what that meant or what I would want to do. I really liked MTV, so I thought, MTV is where I'm supposed to be. I don't know how or in what capacity. I think looking back, being a producer is what I wanted to do, because I would always just produce these school talent shows or, school events. But I just kind of ended up falling into it because I went to university for a media degree, and I thought I wanted to do film because I studied in the International Baccalaureate, and I took film, had a great professor, and then I came to Goldsmiths, tried radio, loved it, and I was really upset I couldn't do both. I actually emailed someone to see if I could major in 2 things, and they didn't phrase it this way, but the answer is kind of like, this is not the United States. You can major in 2 things. You have to choose one. There's no time to do both. And I realized that if I'm so upset about dropping radio, then maybe I should change my mind completely and not major in film like I thought and major in radio. And at the time, podcasting wasn't that big at all. So when I made that decision, it was just based off of gut instinct. It was really fun telling people that I'm switching from film to radio at the time. They're like, radio? Does anyone listen to radio anymore? But radio and podcasting are close. There are differences, definitely. But if you study being a radio producer, you become a podcast producer as well. I received a scholarship for my master's. So the scholarship actually included a placement at the BBC, and I loved it. 3 months after that placement, I was asked to produce my first documentary for Radio 4, and that was it. I've basically been producing ever since. I love how immersive podcasts can be. I think they can really draw you in. And I know a lot of the times that's due to the the writing, and I'm thinking now of narrative podcasts mostly, but I know a lot of the time that's due to amazing writing, great interviews, but I would also say a lot of it is due to great music and sound design and use of silence as well. I'm actually studying more of that aspect of audio at the moment with funding from the Arts Council, which I'm really, really grateful for. But I believe that music is such a crucial element of audio in general. We all love music, and if you find the right music for a specific segment of your program, of your podcast, it can make a world of a difference. My big tip is at the end of any interview, ask your interviewee, is there anything you think I should have asked you and you didn't? Or is there anything you think I missed? Is there anything you'd like to add? Is there a story you would like to share? Something of that nature, because you never know what you're missing. And sometimes people won't think to tell you and to let you know that you're missing something crucial until you ask them and give them permission to. And I think this is a simple tip. I would assume a lot of producers do it, but it speaks to something bigger, which is, in my opinion, I think we should make our guests, our interviewees, as comfortable as possible. I think they're taking a risk in speaking to us because they have no control over how their interview is going to be edited or in what context it will be used. And they often don't get paid for speaking to us. And I think it's just a nice human thing to do, to just be kind and make them feel comfortable and ask for their opinion. They're the experts. We're speaking to them for a reason, even if what they're doing is telling us their life story. They're the experts on their life story. Be kind, compassionate, and at the end of the interview, ask them if you've missed anything. Your program will be better for it. You can find me at RATA Simona on Twitter or X. And you can also find me on LinkedIn or Instagram if you just search my name. And you can see all my links in the show notes. Thank you for listening to Podcasting People.
Like the sound of this episode? The Sound Boutique can help with your show too, from fixing problem audio all the way through to producing full shows. Visit thesoundboutique.com today to start a conversation. The link is in the show notes.